This time on Don't Evolve Me, we have a plan.
A plan.
We have a plan this time. We're going to talk Invincible.
All right.
And I have a cold open for you.
What's
I
happening?
already did a little bit blind ranking of Invincible characters, 1 through 5.
Of all the characters?
No, just 5 characters, blind ranking.
Okay.
No. I'm doing it.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
First one, Adam Eve.
Okay. That's
So
number 5?
No. You got to blind rank it.
Oh, you want me to rank
Yeah,
it?
you're
Okay,
blind ranking.
Okay. 4.
Okay. Mark Grayson, Invincible.
1.
Okay. Shit, who the hell has 3? I didn't write this down.
Says we have a
Battle
plan.
Beast.
3.
Amber.
5.
Omni-Man.
2.
That actually worked out decently well. I think
Yeah.
Omni-Man would be number 1.
I thought about that, but I mean, Invincible's literally the title character, so
That's fair. Battle Beast.
yeah, you fucked him up.
A lot of people like Battle Beast.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's cue the music. All right, welcome to Don't Evolve Me, the place like Ash, Ketchum's Pikachu. We don't evolve, we just level up. And Brandon, you're back to back,
Heck yeah, back again.
like Drake, back to back,
Happy to be back.
like Michael Jordan, back to back. I don't know how many other references I can do.
Yeah, I was waiting for
I'm
the
like
next one.
blinking. Georgia Bulldogs, back to back. College football.
Yeah, you got the sports on me. I don't.
I got the sports on them.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm excited.
Excited.
Yeah, for this episode.
Talking about Invincible.
And talking about Invincible. All right, for everyone who doesn't know, this is going to be an Invincible show. I fucking love Invincible.
You are the biggest fan I know.
I'm the biggest fan that I know. I don't know if anyone beats me for being a fan of Invincible. I'm actually excited that you're the one that I'm talking to about Invincible, because I feel like you're the one person that I hyped up Invincible who actually watched it and then was like, yeah,
Yeah, this is good. Yeah, for sure. I do remember that. You were buying the comics well before the show came out.
I was. And then the show came out and the comics got super expensive.
Yeah.
I actually have a bunch of out right now. The one that's in a case is spent $100 on it. That was the big spoiler episode. So in the show, it was episode 1 that they showed the big twist, the big plot twist that gets people into it. But in the comic, it was very. It wasn't until issue 7, I believe, issue 7, yeah, that the twist happened. Because before it was like a normal. It's a comic book that was reminiscent of Spider-Man, and it was kind of like, why am I reading this?
And then the twist happens.
And the twist happens.
I mean, it's been a couple years. We probably can talk spoilers.
You think I can talk spoilers?
I feel like it's gonna be really hard to dance around everything.
The betrayal of Omni-Man.
It's literally the first episode of the show.
It is.
The
dad's evil.
Yeah, I was hooked right at that point.
Yeah,
it started out a little slow, but I think that was the best way to end the episode.
I think that was the best way to go about it.
Yeah.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but yes. All right. Show me your wares.
My wares? Wearing a Unity shirt today.
Nice.
That's my wares.
I'm like you last time. I'm wearing just a blue polo-looking shirt with buttons, and I have a San Francisco Giants hat on.
Rocking the hats.
I'm rocking the hats.
Rocking the bald head.
Yeah, very Walter White. Walter White.
Walter
like? Actually, no, I like that better. You're very Walter like.
I don't have my Trilby or whatever it is that he has.
Yeah, with the sunglasses.
Yeah, whatever.
Are you gonna say my name to me?
Maybe later.
Should do that. People say my name.
You're goddamn right.
I should dress as Walter White just to do that, because it's so like fulfilling to say out loud. All right, what have you been nerding out on?
playing a lot of Magic again the last few days, actually.
Okay. You went from Pokemon TCG to Magic.
Back to Magic again, yeah. Pokemon was a lot of fun for a little while. It was nice and refreshing, but it started to get a little stale again. Magic, there's just so much more you can do. Pokemon
is like that. It's intriguing, but then the decks get boring. It's kind of the same.
Yeah, the meta game, and it is just like every game plays out very similarly, which it's great. Don't get me wrong, but Magic is just it has so much more diversity in the game.
I agree. I will say this: Magic is one of those card games where, there's just so much you can do. So much different type. Every color has its own unique game style,
and there's just like so many different ways that you can go about it, like different ways you can win and stuff like that. Like in Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, like you can win by milling, like that's a thing.
Yep.
But that's pretty much it, aside from damage, like just by attacking, whereas in Magic you can win by milling, you can win by burn damage, combos. There's all sorts of different ways that you can go about reaching that end goal.
And every game is like different. Whereas like Yu-Gi-Oh kind of has that, but it's more first turn. Like it's after you play it for so long,
I'd hesitate to say that Yu-Gi-Oh games are very different. I think for the most part, especially like the top decks, they're so consistent at what they do that their first turn pretty much looks identical any given time, unless like the opponent has certain interaction or they're playing a certain deck or something like that. Otherwise, it is very much just, I'm going to do my 10-minute combo that I do every game.
And then a combo.
If you have an answer, yes or no, otherwise I'm just going to do this, and then it's going to be your turn. You're going to draw your card. Can you break my board? Yes or no? I win.
It really has become.
Yeah, that is 100% what it is.
It was like that too, like 10 years ago when we played.
Yeah, and it's just gotten infinitely worse.
It sounds awful. This doesn't sound as fun. Whereas like Magic, it seems like it's more of a chess match.
Yeah, and
where Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, it seems more like it's checkers.
Yeah, the biggest thing with Magic that it has going over the other ones is it has different formats. There's different types of games you can play and stuff like that, and multiplayer in Magic, whereas there isn't a multiplayer format in Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon.
I hated playing one-on-one because I always got my ass kicked. But like when we played the Commander, or if we played
multiplayer games,
I always got slept on because my deck was really slow. But like if you slept on me too much, then it got like huge.
It really,
decks, man.
It gives an opportunity for everybody to really have, to do what they want to do and stuff like that. I think that the way to fix Yu-Gi-Oh, in my opinion, is simple. It's rotations. It's just like Magic has with like Standard and Pokemon has. You got to rotate out all the chuff that is super broken and way too strong, and they need to reset the power level of the game.
Yeah, I always hated that though with Magic, because as soon as my deck got rotated out, it was like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm out.
But like in Pokemon and Magic and like in Standard, I do agree Standard is a ton of fun. They did just change it now actually, so it's a 3-year rotation on Standard instead of 2 years. So any cards that you buy, they're going to be playable for 3 years before you have to rotate them out. And that's a pretty significant amount. It's still not great, and there are formats in Magic that don't rotate.
Yeah,
and you can play those and stuff like that. And Pokemon, I don't quite know how they did their rotation, but I think it's kind of newer. I think they kind of hit points where there's like, okay, things have gotten too crazy. Things, let's just cut all that and start printing a new set that plays together.
Easy way to get like the money and keep rolling.
Yeah, fix your game. Keep people interested. Yu-Gi-Oh has a very, very tough time getting people to play the paper card game.
Something exciting though that's happening. Today we get to play Warhammer finally.
Yes.
We get to actually play it.
Yes, Warhammer, another one of my nerd passions.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see how because we saw it all at WAFest, but we didn't
didn't really watch the games in detail and stuff like that. And
so now
talking about the general
now we
hobby.
get to dive in.
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It is. There's nothing more satisfying than rolling like 30 dice at a time. It is very satisfying.
What I've been nerding out on, not new for anyone who's like for the listeners, Zelda. Got back into it. Found out you can buy or you can build your own dream house. And that's what I've been doing. I've been gathering resources. Yeah, just been diving into it.
You can't go wrong with Zelda.
It's such a deep game. All right, we don't have much news, but we're gonna get into it. It's time for a news quickie. It's time for news, and I just got Invincible news.
Invincible news.
Adam Eve, the bonus episode came out.
Yes, I haven't got to watch it yet.
I have. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Other news, more Invincible news. November 3rd, it's coming out.
I did see that, but isn't it only like 4 episodes?
4 episodes. I think it's 8 episode seasons, but they're an hour long.
Yeah. Oh, each episode's going to be an hour long?
They've always been.
Have they always been an hour long?
Yeah.
Huh. Guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I watched the original show.
Well, it's also just one of those shows you just get sucked in. It feels like it's only been 20 minutes.
Yep, for sure.
But yeah, first 4 episodes and early 2024, which is crazy to say. The second half will be coming out. And then, or also, more news, season 3 has already been recorded.
Of Invincible?
Of Invincible. So this whole actor strike doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
Other news too, animation studios from I think Warner Brothers and Cartoon Network, they are unionizing.
That's good. We were literally talking about that last week about how they should make their own unions, graphic designers and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
That's funny. That's good.
All good news.
Because that is a severely overworked, underpaid industry.
I agree. For sure. All right, moving on. Before we get into Invincible, I've been excited since you told me this morning that you just watched the Batman.
Yes. Yeah,
I wanted you to give me your fresh takes. This is what we call fresh takes. Fresh takes. Get your fresh takes here.
So I enjoyed it. I'll start with that. It was good.
Yeah.
It was what I thought it was going to be, I guess. Okay. Like kind of towing the line of the darker side of Batman, I guess. Kind of exploring the anger and that kind of stuff. The whole idea of vengeance versus being like a hero. Mm-hmm. You know, I thought that was pretty well played. The only thing I didn't appreciate was just how much of a dick Bruce was to Alfred.
Yeah,
that made me a little sad. I get it, I guess. They're trying to kind of portray, you got to start somewhere in order to show the growth that's going to happen and stuff like that. Robert Pattinson's Batman was good. But I was telling you earlier, I need to rewatch the Dark Knight trilogy, and I need to see if some of these things that I kind of was picking up on, like if it's just me or if it's...
What things?
I don't want to say goofy in some scenes and stuff like that, but like as Batman, it just, I don't know, just kind of felt out of place in some scenes, like the look of it and stuff like that. I don't know what it was about it, and maybe it's just like a Batman thing, a man in a cape and stuff like that.
Oh, he just looked goofy in some scenes.
Yeah, it's just like the idea
at the Iceberg Lounge.
Yeah, there's some scenes. Yeah, it's just like where he's doing his stuff and stuff like that. And it just didn't quite. I don't know. Didn't feel like real to me, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know how to describe it. That's why I want to watch the Dark Knight trilogy. I want to see if it's the same, like when, especially any scenes where like Batman's in the light. That's always tough, I feel like, when they're showing him not in the darkness. And I want to see if it feels that same way, I guess, in the Dark Knight trilogy. Because it's been a while since I've watched it, but that in my brain is
I feel like the Dark Knight they play it more during the day. Like,
they do, well, especially in the third one specifically. I feel like, because that was kind of the point that he's like, coming out of the shadows and being
he's the hero
that Gotham needs,
doesn't deserve.
Yeah, I can't remember which version at that point. He's the
hero that Gotham deserves, but not the one it
needs right now. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a little while since I've seen those movies.
Yeah, same. I always said like Dark Knight. I always have it. I have it as a 5, but it's always one of those movies where I thought it's always overrated and not overrated because it's a bad movie. When I say overrated, underrated, it's more just how people rank things, right?
Yeah.
So if I say a movie's overrated, a lot of people are like, oh, Dark Knight's not over. Like, I think it is because people have it like this pedestal that it's like the best.
That's why. Yeah, that's why I want to rewatch the whole trilogy again. With a modern lens, like with the MCU and stuff, because I don't think I've seen it since, like all of this stuff has really gone crazy to go back and see, what kind of kicked it all off again.
I would put the Batman in comparison to Dark Knight, and this is kind of getting headed to when we do our Batman State of Review episodes. I feel like the Batman is like just under the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Like the fact that one of the big things that I really liked about the Batman compared to the Dark Knight and like just other Batman films in general is Batman actually has an arc, and a pretty significant arc at that. Whereas the Dark Knight, that's like my biggest con of the whole movie is that Bruce Wayne, Batman, doesn't really have an arc in that whole film.
Yeah, but it's the Joker's movie.
It is the Joker's movie.
He's the main character in that movie.
He is great. It's wonderful. But Batman doesn't have an arc.
Yeah.
And that's the big flaw. That's where I'm like, it's not.
Well, his arc is summed up at the end of the movie when he's on the run after killing, or not, after taking the blame for Harvey Dent's death.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then he's
is that a plot point or an arc?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like shoehorned in at the end. He's just like, okay, now I realize, like my lesson learned from this whole thing.
And then now I'm going to take a 8-year hiatus.
Yeah.
Until Bane comes.
Yeah, it messes everything up. I thought the Riddler was really cool. I enjoyed the idea behind it and stuff like that.
It's definitely different, but I do, yeah.
It fit the character well. It was a good way to make him make sense in an actual threat. Because that is always like the hardest part with the Riddler.
Yeah, it's making him a threat.
Yeah.
Well, his threat is like his machines or the riddles or like the mystery behind the man pulling the strings or the spoiler for Hush. Like he's the man in the backgrounds.
I did notice the Hush reference when I don't remember what it was, but at one point it's just like I think it was Riddler's video or whatever when he was talking about Thomas Wayne or whatever. It just says Hush. Oh yeah, over the whole thing.
I think I remember seeing that. I'm like,
I was just like,
when you said Hush reference, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember there's a Hush reference. Riddler's probably my favorite Batman villain out of all of them, just because he's such a mental game with Batman.
Yeah,
and to me that's like the most. Anytime like the Riddler shows up, like the Batman animated series, or if it's the comic books or movies, I'm intrigued because I just want to see the back and forth of the wits. And I enjoy that, and I really enjoyed that they did it in more of like a murderer mystery.
Yeah, I think
taking out the corruption.
Very serious storyline behind it.
Yeah,
I think it was good,
and I really like the way with the arc because it's like, hey, like I'm inspired by you, Batman. Like I want to be you, and like it made sense. Yeah, like it's a grounded character that made sense. It's
very akin to the Joker in the Dark Knight. That
Did you know
made me? I wouldn't be here if you weren't here.
You know that Riddler was originally the villain for Dark Knight Rises.
Really? They decided against it because he was too similar to the Joker.
I think it's because they were going to do Joker, Riddler together.
Oh yeah.
And a type of like, hey, Joker, help me catch the Riddler because he's like you. But like once Heath Ledger died, they kind of just threw away that idea.
I mean, they do kind of toy with that in the Batman.
So, all right, 2 questions, and we got to move on to Invincible.
Okay.
So, first question is, who do you want as the second, or for the villain for the second movie?
I think most people would probably say the Joker, just because he's like in it and he's like the main bad guy.
Yeah.
But I don't. You know who I would like to see done well, who is a very underrated Batman villain?
I feel like I know who you're going to say, and I feel like it's going to be the same answer I have.
Mr. Freeze.
Yep, it's the same one.
Yeah. He is a very complicated character, very interesting.
I would like him as a side character.
Yeah.
But not in the vein of like Batman Robin, but like more of like he's the villain for most of the film, and then like maybe Joker pops up at the end.
I don't know. Maybe somebody else. I don't know if you can just kind of throw the Joker in. I think that would be a disservice.
It would, but you could always have the Joker as like the main big bad in the trilogy.
In the third one, yeah. I love the Joker, and he's obviously the most iconic villain.
He's also been established too.
Yeah, but he's just so.
Did you see
obvious.
the YouTube? Did you see the YouTube video of the Joker? The scene that they dropped.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, where he actually goes and talks to him.
Yeah.
Very
good. I actually enjoy that take of the Joker.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'd like to. Yeah, I'd be curious to see how it gets all fleshed out and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like who would be a good second. Poison Ivy definitely is not a good second villain. They have two polarizing like Batman and Robin doesn't make sense. Spoiler alert for our State of Review episode. Yeah. Like, them two teaming up doesn't make sense. Hey, I want to freeze the world. Hey, I want to get rid of, like, humans, so plants. It's like, okay.
It doesn't quite
if you freeze the world, you kill the plants. Like, you should be on opposite ends here. Mr. Freeze, who'd be a good one? Like, Penguin.
Yeah, I mean, the Penguin is already pretty heavily established.
And it's going to have a show, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah? I didn't know that.
Do you know who the actor?
Oh yeah, I know. Colin Farrell does not look anything like him.
He was good.
He did very good. He did. Yeah, he did great. I thought it was a great.
And Catwoman was pretty good too.
Second best Penguin to.
I
want to say Danny DeVito, but then I actually thought about it and I was like, well, the Penguin from the Gotham is actually really good.
Oh yeah, I forget his name. He's pretty good. The only downside of that show is the characters just became what the plot needed them to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That show in general was a disappointment. I don't know.
It was good. It was good the first season.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't. You can't take a Batman story and Batman villains and not have Batman in it. At the end of the day, it's the same thing with the Sony Spider-Man universe. It just doesn't work.
Or
it's just missing
Supernatural too. Supernatural had Superman in it, but then towards the later seasons where they're like, hey, it's not a Superman show, but it's a Superman show.
You mean Smallville?
Yeah.
You said Supernatural.
Did I say Supernatural?
Yeah, I was so confused.
I got my seasons mixed up.
Yeah. Smallville. Yeah. Like, it gets to the point where it's like, okay, like, let's get to it.
Yeah.
This is Superman. Like, we need Superman.
All right. Speaking of getting to it.
That's right.
You like that segue?
That was good.
I got one last question.
Okay.
And then we'll move to Invincible. All right. What would you give your rating for Batman? The Batman.
As it stands, out of 5?
Out of 5.
Like a 4 plus.
No, that's exactly where I have it.
Yeah,
like, it's great, but it's close to elite. You're questioning.
Yeah. I need to see the sequel. I need to see it translate into more.
It's up there. I think, like, out of all the Batman films, it's the second best one.
I just watched a video breaking. I just watched a video breaking down Tim Burton's Batman, the original, and
I don't have it that high. Well, like on the Batman,
I don't know.
Yes.
After hearing some more of the stuff behind it and stuff like that, I don't know if I could say that it's better than the Batman or even the Dark Knight, but it's definitely up there for consideration.
I watched the first scene often, and I really loved the first scene because it's all from a POV perspective of the Riddler, and just the way they shot it. I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a cool POV. Like, hey, this guy's watching, and you're like, oh, you're actually Riddler in this moment. And the camera changes, and then, like, the Riddler's just there. So, all right. Moving on. Invincible. It has been a little while since I've watched the show. It's been a while since I watched it. I'm excited for this show. I'm excited that, this is one of my favorite comics. So if I had to list, like, my favorite comics, there's 4 that I have in mind. I don't know what the 5th one would be. Invincible's probably number 1. So Invincible, Saga, Ultimate Spider-Man, but not Miles Morales, the run before it. It ends weird, and then Miles Morales shows up. So it gets weird, but the first, like, 130 issues, 110 maybe. Great.
Okay.
And then Walking Dead.
Okay.
Kirkman for 2 of them. Just one of the better.
Kirkman do Saga too?
Huh?
What other one does Kirkman do?
Oh, he does Invincible. And
he does do Invincible. Okay.
Yeah, okay. He's the one who wrote.
Yeah, I should have known.
Invincible.
That. Yeah.
Invincible makes me want to quit writing superhero comics. So I remember writing my comic that I had called The Maze, and I'm only 8 issues that I've written. I've had a block for the 9th one, and then I read Invincible, and I just wanted to quit writing. Because the cool thing about Invincible is, like, we have DC, we have Marvel, and then Image trying to do their own superhero universe.
Yeah.
And Invincible is pretty much its own superhero universe, and it's kind of like this fun twist where it's like, what if superheroes were real in, like, a world, and how would that work? And I feel like it incorporates that idea very, very well. Whereas Marvel and DC, they incorporate it, but it's so split off that it's not cohesive. Whereas Invincible, you have a very good idea of, like, how the world works, and it builds such an interesting lore with that. And one of the great things about Invincible, is it plays through all the classic tropes.
Mm.
So, like the first 7 issues, right, was just a boy getting his powers.
Yep. Very generic superhero.
And him trying to deal with life after that. And then the big twist of Omni-Man happens. And then the twist didn't last long. It was only a few issues. And then it was dealing with life afterwards. And there's so many different ideas played with, like relationships. How do relationships work? Do I kill? Do I don't kill? Am I actually helping? Is being a superhero even worth it at this point? Because I'm creating other villains that are like doing things to destroy the world that I'm trying to protect. But if I wasn't here protecting it, they wouldn't be here trying to destroy me.
It's kind of like the whole idea: if we didn't create the nuclear bomb to begin with, nobody else would have.
Yeah. That whole argument, like, hey, we got to defend, or like the whole idea of Batman, right? Like, I don't know if every incarnation of Batman has done this, but I've seen or read a few of them where Batman becomes Batman to stop crime, but then all these supervillains become created because of Batman. And it's like, well, these supervillains, like the Joker, for example, the Joker wouldn't really be the Joker without Batman.
Oh, yeah. If you didn't have a Batman to go up against, then he'd just be a regular crook.
Yeah, or he'd just be a regular crazy person. Yep. You wouldn't have to build up the theatrics. Like the Joker of the movie, for example. Which I think we should include in the Batman review.
The sequel comes out in a couple months.
Is it a couple months? It's early 2024,
October.
Right?
No, I think it's October.
It's October?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I had to double check that. But
yeah, you should double check that because I feel like it's early 2024. If it comes out, damn.
Either way, it's soon. Too. Yeah, it is a musical. Oh, okay, maybe it is.
Invincible, though, is just one of those...
Oh, October 2024.
You're off by a whole year.
So are you. I was right about October.
Hey, I was off by 6 months.
Yeah. We were both wrong.
I'll take that. As long as you don't win.
Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah, you don't win either. I'm happy.
Yeah, we're both happy losing. All right.
I am pretty happy about that movie, though.
Same. I'm curious how it's going to work. Lady Gaga is already good.
I could see it just being a massive failure, though.
I can't.
Like I don't want it. Just because, like, the first one struck such lightning.
That one didn't even need to be a Joker movie.
It didn't. I mean, it's basically the comedian and taxi driver or whatever combined together.
Yeah, basically.
But it makes for a perfect Joker origin story.
It does. Back to Invincible.
Yep.
So, yeah. I was really excited for the comic ended very, very well. It's not like Walking Dead at all.
Did that actually end?
Walking Dead?
Yeah, the comics, yeah.
Yeah, it was a surprise ending.
Just like, it's like, oh, we're done now?
Yeah, literally. So what they did was they had a bunch of like salutations that they do. So they like write a bunch of like, hey, the story's going here, it's going here. And the day that it ended, or like the week that it ended, they said like, oh yeah, it ended.
Oh, it's just like, we're done.
Yeah, he's like Robert Kirkman was like, I'm gonna end this series like I end so many other like characters. It's just gonna happen suddenly. It's gonna happen out of nowhere, and then it's just gonna end. It was great because like they killed Rick like the second issue to the last issue, and you're like, yeah, wait, what?
Yeah, and then it ends,
and then the finale happens,
and then the show keeps going.
No, the show's ended too.
Did the show end around the same time? I didn't. I stopped watching.
No,
after,
the show ended within last year.
Yeah, but I mean, did it keep going after the comic book story?
Oh no! It ended like in the similar. I remember. I didn't watch the show, so I don't know exactly, but I know
nobody watched the show.
They were caught up to where the ending was, and that's where they ended it.
Okay.
And now there's a bunch of spin-offs. Yay! Yeah, because we want more Daryl, right?
Yeah,
we want more Negan, right?
No,
we want more Fear of the Walking Dead because that show's still happening.
Yeah, that show. I loved that show for the first like 3 seasons, and then.
It was good, and then
it's just
I wasn't really interested in going further because it just seemed like one of those. It's quantity, not quality.
Yep.
And Walking Dead was definitely quantity, but quantity, not quality, and very gimmicky.
Yeah, it just felt like the zombies lost their threat. I don't know. In the first couple of seasons, like they were like an actual threat, and it was scary. And
I would love
dark.
If Amazon took over Walking Dead, but animated, but to the comics to a T.
Yeah.
In the same vein as Invincible, which we're getting back to.
Yeah. Tangents.
Yep. ADHD, man. I have a lot of ADHD guests, and this is what happens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could. I'm trying my best to not derail the conversation.
Well, it's my job to get us back on track. All right. So, first season happened. What was your thoughts on like the show overall?
I think it's great. I think it was a superhero story that we needed in a time full of generic, boring superhero stories.
For sure. I really love how like they did changes, but the changes made sense and still worked within the story.
Yep. I think people get mad at that kind of stuff, but you got to realize that like a comic is just it's a different medium than like a cartoon show, and things that work in a comic don't necessarily work in a cartoon.
For example, like the twist happened immediately first episode. It had to, and when it happened, I was like, oh, I understand why it happened. It's cool to see happen. However, I'm like, there is a thing to be said about like that slow.
Yeah, but I do think,
Or finish your thought.
I was just going to say, I think by doing that, it gave them so much momentum right off the bat. It got people hooked on that first episode. Whereas, like, imagine if that didn't happen until, like, episode 5 or something like that. Like, at that point, what is, like, the actual drama? Like, yeah, it is, it's a origin story of a superhero. But, you don't have that.
The tension for the entire series.
Yeah, because of that one scene at the first episode.
Like that didn't happen in the comic book issue. It just like he became evil and then was just like, all right, I'm gonna kill everybody, join me, fight.
Was he just like open and out about it right away in the comics?
No,
it was like a secret thing. He killed him secretly.
Yeah, the show is very similar to the comics. Okay. It's just more or less things are out of order, if that makes sense. For example, him going to Mars in the first season, that didn't happen. That happened later on in the comics.
Okay.
So, like, I forget what issue. It was like, I had the comics. That was like issue 30. Whereas most of the first season is like issues 1 through 10.
Yeah. Well, you find that you can take a lot of liberties and stuff like that with certain stories because they don't necessarily need to be in a certain point in the long run when you have so much to pull from.
I'd say. What would your ranking be for Invincible, like first season?
I mean, that's a solid 4+.
That's literally what I wrote right here.
Yeah, yeah. I can't.
It's like a 4+, 5-.
I don't think I quite give it a 5. Once again, got to hit that second season first.
That first season was so good.
Yeah,
the last 2 episodes were just so intense.
It is, and it's so good that the second season could easily make it better or worse.
Oh, I have a lot of predictions for second season.
Okay,
which we'll get into.
Your predictions are almost spoilers though because you've read the comics.
I will be vague.
Okay,
ish. We'll do a spoiler warning. That'll be towards the end, though. All right.
Okay.
So, I would say 4+, maybe 5-. Okay. But I'm not sure quite. Like, I don't know what like really the negatives of it. Like the animation at times were a little off. The character seemed off sometimes.
I will say, the animation is stylized.
Yeah,
it looks very comic booky, which is good, but it is very like it's almost really bright and colorful like a comic book to like contrast the darkness and the tones and stuff like that in the show. I think it makes for a good thing, but there are areas where it's just kind of like looks a little goofy and stuff like that. Doesn't quite look,
especially when you get really, really deep. Like the comics like that though too.
Yeah.
It deals with such really dark themes. Like the one of the later issues in the comics deals with I don't want to spoil it or say what it is, but like the main Mark Grayson goes through something very serious. And it's like a very serious issue where you're like, damn, like no other show really has gone before, or like no other story has really gone or has dared to go that way. And it's very controversial.
But it's like a bright, colorful yellow and blue dude going through this kind of stuff.
But yeah.
No, I get that. But it does add to it in a sense too. I don't think it's a negative by any means.
Yeah, it's a stylistic choice, but that's where I would say like maybe that's a con. Like we're finding cons. We're trying to find cons.
Yeah, searching for things. I think it's all the action and stuff is very well animated. Yeah, from what I remember.
And the voice acting is really good too.
Oh yeah, I mean J.K. Simmons. Legend. Anything he's in. Yeah.
God, I can't think of his name. The guy who voices Invincible.
Oh, it's
Glenn from Walking Dead.
Yeah, Stephen Yeun.
Yeah.
He's great. Oh yeah, he's a great actor.
Wonderful. Sandra, whatever her name is, who does Debbie, the mom.
Oh yep.
I like how her character really expands. In the comics, she's just a drunken mom. Like, she's just a character. She's just there. She's an NPC.
I do. Yeah, they definitely dive into that aspect of like being a normal human. With these superpowered people and stuff like that. Like, how do you compare to, your son and your husband who are going to live forever, basically, and are invincible?
Thousands of years.
Yeah, that is a tough...
The finale of the comic deals with that story in a really great way.
Okay.
Obviously, can't get into it.
Yeah.
But, like, the finale was just like, hey, here's, like, 30, 40 more issues of story we could have told, but we're just going to glance through it.
Yeah.
Because, like...
I think having things come to an end is like the most underrated aspect of like any story, any Breaking comic, Bad. Any movie. Yep.
Just finished that too.
Yep. Have an ending if you're writing a story and you want it to be like a great story all the way through, you need to have like your ending planned from the beginning. Like, you need to know where your show is going to end up.
An idea, at least.
Yeah, maybe not exactly, because things can change and you can kind of fumble your way there. But you need to have an idea of how your show is going to end. Because when people do these things and they have no idea how it's going to end, that's when we end up with the Star Wars trilogy.
Oh God, Star Wars trilogy.
But that's true. I mean, that's what it is. You get these great beginnings and middles, and then they flop on the end.
J.J. Abrams' problem.
Yeah, and it leaves the whole thing feeling flat.
Yeah,
the ending didn't.
You need an idea of where it goes. You need something that's satisfactory. You don't. I feel like with writing, George R. R. Martin talks about this too. You don't necessarily. I'd love to hear
his take on it. The guy that's never finished his book.
But like, he talks about like writing. There's two different ways to write. Right? You could have a really cool story idea and you just see where it goes through writing, or you can have everything meticulously planned. And I think both are great.
Oh, I agree. But I think that those stories that kind of go where they're going, they still need an ending.
Yeah, you need an ending.
And there's so much stuff that just
Flash,
doesn't have an ending.
CW.
Yeah.
Like Arrow, like those shows didn't have an ending in mind.
Yep.
Like The Flash, like, we're just gonna tell the greatest stories right away. And it's like, okay, but then what?
Yeah, and it's very much, it is tougher with those types of stories and stuff like that, because it's like you want like a conclusion to the character after you've been watching them for 7 years, but at the same time, like, I don't know, spoilers for Flash, the show. I haven't seen it, but can I say what I think happens in the end?
Is that a spoiler? Or is that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a spoiler because I don't know for sure, but I think he has to merge with the Speed Force in order to like save the world.
I didn't watch either. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think
at least at this point?
Yeah, I don't think it matters at this point, but it gives like an ending to the character, I guess.
Yeah,
like it's like, okay, he's done. There's not any more adventures. That kind of thing.
It's very Arrow-like, where he becomes the Green Spectre and has to be that person.
Yeah. And then the CW shows, definitely, they were great when they first started because we didn't have anything like that.
Nope.
But then as the genres have evolved and we've seen the best and the worst of the genre,
they also expanded too, to the point where like the writing quality just took a huge nosedive.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back to it. All right, favorite characters from Invincible.
Favorite characters. I love Cecil.
Yeah.
Cecil. Yeah, and the demon dude from hell or whatever.
Blood.
Yeah. I love him as a character too.
I don't think he comes back. He might come back in the show, but he doesn't come back in the comics.
It makes sense that it ended like that. But yeah, I think that was just a interesting guy.
Cecil's such an interesting character, and I really liked his place in the story because he's like
he's a badass.
He's
got to be to deal with these super powerful and possibly
he has to keep them all in check. He's he's like our protector and like he's Brain. He's Lex Luthor. We have the conversation where Lex Luthor is a great villain. He's very much in that vein where he's moving the pieces around. He is the chess player and the world's the chessboard.
And it's interesting because like normally a character like that in these type of situations is the bad guy.
Yeah.
But in this show he's not.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not necessarily like a good guy per se.
I will just say this,
his overall intentions are good.
The comic book plays with that idea so much.
Yeah.
It's so good. I'll just say Cecil and Mark get into it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go any further than that. It is great.
Yeah.
Cecil's a great character. I have him listed. Mark, Eve, obviously.
Yeah.
Mark is just, he's the main character. He's kind of...
we're experiencing it through his eyes.
Vanilla, but I always like, Mark is great in the... he's great in the show, but he's still coming into his own, whereas in the comic, he feels very human. Like, he just changes a lot of his aspects of his character. Not like his core character. His core character always stays really consistent, but just like his values change. And I really... like, not a lot of comics experiment with it, like you changing of values. Like, should I be killing these people? Should I not? I wrote Art down just because he's played by Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
such the most like Mark Hamill's like such a great like voice actor that I'm like, wait, why is he playing Art? He should be playing like one of the villains that are coming up that we won't mention too much about.
Yeah.
Otherwise. I also like Robot Monster Girl.
It's a very interesting storyline that you wouldn't normally see people like tackle.
Yeah.
There's definitely some kind of weird implications in the whole thing.
But
there are questions that in a scenario like that, it's interesting to think about.
It makes you think. And they're an interesting pairing moving forward.
Okay.
More late. I don't know when the show is going to do it. In the comics, it's a lot later that they kind of mess around with like those two. But it just puts such a great twist. It's such a great story that's in.
Oh yeah, and the show too. I mean,
but Robot in general as a character, amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean for sure, because I mean the whole thing is they implicate very heavily that he's like a bad guy too, and then it turns out that no, he's not really a bad guy. He's just trying to take care of himself or do what he wants to do for himself. Maybe not morally in the right in what he does.
Yeah.
But he's not trying to hurt anybody. No. Like his intention isn't to hurt anybody or to cause damage.
Good, but it's his own view of his intentions, which is like the best characters.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Multifaceted.
Exactly. Favorite villains.
That
you can remember.
Yeah,
there's a lot of them that
they did throw in quite a few. I mean, we mentioned Battle Beast earlier. That's the first time that he really gets
Battle Beast. Yeah, Battle Beast in the comics don't show up often, but he does show up in this like scene in the comics, and we never see him until like 100 issues later.
Okay.
Actually, I think the wall is the first 115. There's 140 some issues.
Okay, so yeah, he doesn't come back till later.
But in the show, apparently he's going to come back a lot more often.
Okay, and he is
because he's a fan favorite of like the comics, and his voice is interesting. I forget who plays him, but it's very well known. Most of these people are very well known.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the voice that they chose, I'm like, I did not imagine that voice for Battle Beast.
What is the name of the like robot mob boss guy?
Machine Head.
Machine Head. Yeah, he's cool too.
He's interesting. I like Titan. He's not a villain technically yet. He's the guy who Invincible helps.
Oh yeah. The one that he helps put. Yeah. See, that's an interesting storyline too. Like saving this guy and helping him, but at the end of the day, he's just installing somebody else into power to take over.
He's a decent sized villain, but he's not that big.
Yeah.
So
I could see him in.
I think Marshall Ali is the one who is
voicing him.
Yeah.
I could see him in Invincible having kind of like a Batman and Penguin kind of relationship.
A little bit.
Whereas like, neither of them really trust each other or like each other, but they use each other.
I am so the Mauler twins I really love.
Oh yeah.
I love
yeah.
You're the clone. No, you're the clone.
Yeah,
no, you're the clone. Like I just that dynamic, like in the comics, is great, but it's like it's so intriguing. It's like imagine just like making a clone of yourself, but then installing the fact that you don't know if you're the clone or not. Like how scary would that be?
Yeah.
Like, am I real? Am I not real? Does it matter? Is the real one of us
still alive?
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably
because every
not.
time we die, we make another one.
Yeah. Probably not. How many generations removed are they from the actual person?
They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't. They just think they're the original one.
Yeah, they both do.
Which is like why the whole robot scenario where he clones himself and like his old body dies, it's like such fascinating because like, would you kill yourself to make a new version of yourself? That like, how does that work?
Yeah.
X-Men with Krakoa, that new storyline. I don't know how much you know about
the
that.
Prestige.
The Prestige?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is him killing himself? Is he the one drowning in the tank, or is he the one that appears on the other side?
Yeah, like
it's a very interesting.
Does your soul move on?
Yeah.
X-Men, they die, then they get resurrected. Is it the same person, or is it you're just making a clone of yourself?
Right.
Very fascinating, and that's why I really like the Muller.
Yeah.
One villain we didn't mention that we definitely needs recognition. We mentioned him, but we're not in the vein of villain. Omni-Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
he's like the main big bad of the show.
Yeah. I just have to mention the scene where when he's fighting Mark and it's like needs to show him or try to teach him a lesson and puts him in the subway.
Yeah, not in the comic.
That was just, oh man, that is such a great scene.
It's the animation,
just like flailing his arms around.
The animation is great, and then at the same time, it's like holy shit! This show went there.
Yeah,
they went to the point they're killing. Like it's like the boys went there.
Yeah, brutal. Yeah, that was the other thing. I've been trying not to bring up the boys while we talk about this because I feel like that is like the most apt comparison of a similar style world.
It's very similar,
superheroes,
but it's like it's refreshing.
Yeah,
but the Invincible is like
they're different.
Take on superheroes.
They're very different.
Whereas like the boys is like, what would happen if the superheroes were in our world?
Yeah,
they would be very commercialized. They'd be capitalistic.
Yeah.
Whereas like Invincible is like how superheroes should be.
Yeah,
like how the world should run if there's superpowers. And it's so refreshing.
Yeah, I mean I love both of them. I am a huge fan of the boys.
And then you have MCU and DC. Well, soon to be DCU.
Yeah.
They're kind of
pumping out the same generic stuff over and over again.
Marvel's getting there. They were great. First 3 phases were great.
Yeah, I don't even. Yeah,
and then it gets into the.
I don't even. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff in the MCU, but I do feel like there's a lot of rose-tinted glasses looking back at some of those older movies.
Yeah, some of the older ones.
Yeah, because you're just like, oh, because that's all we had back then.
Like Thor. I don't rank Thor that highly, and it's like, okay, he literally just fights in a small desert town. Yeah, right. And he's fighting a CGI monster.
And then somehow Thor: Dark World was even worse.
I remember watching that movie and coming out. I was like, that was good. And then looking back, I'm like, oh, like it for MCU, it's like it's fine, it works, it's good. Like compared to DCU, it's one of the better films. Yeah, right. Yeah, which that's is like even worse. Yeah, that's not hard to do though. So you mentioned one moment. Any other favorite moments that you had in the show that you were just like, God damn?
I mean, obviously at the end of the first episode.
Yep.
And you're hooked. Just that whole fight scene between him and his dad, like when Omni-Man's almost like defeated by that giant monster thing, like he's about to be like eaten. Mark sees it and he's like, oh, I got to save my dad, not knowing what he's actually doing. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think that whole scene.
That's all made for the show too. That was not similar to the comic.
Yeah, that just goes to show how great.
It was such a tensing moment. Mm-hmm. It was just very.
Just like no, like you're rooting for Omni-Man to lose, and then Mark comes and he's your hero and he's saving the guy you want to lose.
But that's what's so great about it.
Yeah, oh no, that's exactly what's so great about it because it makes you feel these conflicting emotions and stuff like that, and then dealing with his dad and that's.
Okay. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Other favorite moments for me. I mean, the Muller twins. Anytime they show up. Oh, John Hamm's character.
John Hamm's character. Who does he play?
The security guard in front, where he's talking about going on a trip with his son and stuff, or his stepson, trying to get closer. Oh. Like those little moments like that, and then the Guardians come up, and like the Guardians actually like had a presence and were fighting. I'm like that's great. Like that's what's. I'm like it's awesome to do. Expanded. It's like
it makes the world feel real and the characters
it's like
in
the
it
Last
feel
of
real.
Us. Yep, there's that, and like The Last of Us too. I don't know if you watched the show. I don't remember if you.
No, I haven't seen it.
So the TV show, like The Last of Us, there's moments that they add to the show for like the story of from the games that just make it better.
Yeah,
and that's one of the things I liked about the Invincible, the TV show, whereas they mix and match a lot of storylines, but overall the the story was there, or the themes were still there.
Yeah, they used it to make it better, not worse.
Yeah, and they just added to it. It's like it's so. And I just found out recently that John Hamm was the guy who voiced the security guard. You couldn't find him a better role.
Yeah,
there's so many characters, so many things. All right, let's talk the Adam Eve bonus episode. You didn't watch it, I did. It's one of those. It's one of those episodes. It reminds me a lot of the Invincible comic because there's so many bonus issues, and I can show you later. I don't know if I brought any out beforehand, but there's always like these different bonus issues where they kind of explain. I'm pretty sure there's an Adam Eve one that tells the same story that this bonus episode did, but I just like it because it's not their first season. It's not the second season. They're not utilizing any of those time or resources.
Yeah, it's very true.
It's a bonus episode.
That's very true. They're not. Yeah, it's not like a filler episode.
Yeah, and but it is a filler episode. It is,
but it's not because it's not filling in.
You don't need it. You don't need to watch it if you don't want to. But it provides a really good backstory for Adam Eve, who is going to be an important character moving forward. Not going to explain how, but she is.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. And
she just is just fascinating to see this like a whole new aspect of it. She shows why she wants to be a superhero, how her powers work.
That would be interesting.
How as a child she came off as weird, and like how her parents act. And her dad is such a fascinating character because he's like the worst dad ever. Yeah. But like he's like the worst dad ever who cares. He's the worst caring dad ever.
Yeah. He doesn't know how to express in a healthy way.
No. And he's just like, you're weird. Stop being weird. Yeah. You should just be normal. And like, you guys don't know what you signed up for. You don't know. Yeah. So it just tells a story. Not to get into too much in spoilers, they talk about like how she was created. It's very generic in the whole, evil government guy wants the ultimate weapon. Scientist who makes the ultimate weapon has a change of heart. Like, you're a person, frees the baby, and then, tries to be like a father to the baby later on.
Oh, okay.
And then, other experiments show up that aren't like perfect. Like And so the end episode is like her fighting her siblings.
Okay. Interesting.
So yeah, and it just shows the character. I give it a 3.
Yeah.
It's good. Like, you can nitpick at it. That's why I was like, you don't have to watch it. It's not the great. It's probably the worst Invincible episode out of all of them, but I'm like, 3 is okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 3 is solid.
A solid, good episode, that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, you're not going to complain about it.
Not every episode is going to be a 5. You
like,
can't expect that.
Marvel lately is everything's been just a 3. I'm like, if everything's a 3, it's just meh.
Yeah.
Some of it turns 2s and 3s.
Yeah. I haven't watched Guardians yet, so.
But I'm like, Guardians is a 5.
Yeah.
Or no, I gave it a 4+.
I chose Batman first.
Why? Oh, yeah, we had that talk.
Yeah, I couldn't remember which one you told me to watch, so I watched the Batman first.
I feel like I was up there. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk season 2. I want you to give me your predictions and thoughts before I do, because I read the comics. I read the comics twice. I have a pretty well thought out of what season 2 is going to be.
Okay, because that's what I have to say about it.
What?
I have no idea.
No,
because it was so. Like, the stuff that was set up in it, I feel like maybe there's probably more that I'm missing. But I feel like the story was that's what makes it so good, is like you get the beginning and you get the end. You get that confrontation between him and his dad. You get to see it play out. I don't know where they go from there.
Okay. Do you think Omni-Man comes back?
I'm sure Omni-Man comes back.
Okay.
There's no way.
In season 2?
I could see it. I don't know if he'll be like the main big bad or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like... I mean, it could work, but I just don't know.
I know where it's going.
Yeah, I don't know where. There's just so much unknown about it for me, to where I don't know where it could go. So I'm excited to see.
Any more thoughts on it before I go into it?
You go ahead.
Okay.
Go off, King.
So for those who don't want any spoilers whatsoever for season 2, just stop listening. Like,
fair, it's not. Goodbye. Official spoilers for season 2.
No, it's not. It's not official spoilers, but I've read the comics. I know. I have a really good idea where season 2 is going. I have a really good idea what's going to take place, and I think I know the ending of season 2.
Okay.
And I think I have an idea where it's going to be a cliffhanger.
Okay.
So if you don't want any of this, because I think I'm going to be right on it.
Okay.
Stop listening now. If you're like me, who I don't care about spoilers.
Yeah, I don't really care that much about spoilers to some extent.
It's good. The show's going to be good enough. It doesn't matter. Like, I could have told you the spoiler of Omni-Man, which they already spoiled it themselves.
Yeah.
Literally the first episode.
Yeah.
Because it's not the twist that's great. It's the intensity that comes from it.
It's the journey that gets to there. It's
exactly
what comes from it.
All right, my season 2 predictions. Angstrom Levy is going to be the main villain of season 2. Who's Angstrom Levy?
No idea.
He is that man with the big brain on the comic book wall that the audience can't see, but Brandon can, so I'm pointing to him right now.
Okay.
Angstrom Levy is a villain who can travel the multiverse.
Okay.
And he does an experiment that Mark interrupts that goes horribly wrong, as you can see on the cover.
Okay.
And
that's mad.
and he makes Invincible like his like arch nemesis.
Okay.
And all he wants to do is kill Invincible.
Okay.
And that's where the whole argument of like, hey, without Batman there isn't a Joker because you created the villains. This is kind of
similar.
It's similar. It goes into a deep route. We're not going to talk about where it goes. I think we're just going to the origin. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to get him as the big bad initially, but I think he's going to be set up for later. Okay. But he's going to be the big main villain focus.
Like a setup and then a return to double down kind of thing later on.
Mauler twins are back. He works with them. Spoiler works. So going through like the flashback, aliens from Mars invade Earth. That's going to be a scene. Multiverse is explained a little bit. Flaxlands come back because the Flaxlands always come back.
The who?
Flaxlands, the
the alien,
bug multiverse aliens that always show up,
advancing significantly.
They're an interesting.
So Omni-Man doesn't wipe them all out. He didn't wipe them all out when he went in there. Apparently not.
They come back.
Okay.
They always come back.
Okay.
Maybe they're wrong. Maybe the Flaxlands will come back. They will come back eventually in the show. They have to. Titan versus Invincible. We're going to get that matchup.
Okay.
That was teased. I'm just going through the teaser at the end of season 1. The biggest thing about season 2 is going to be Mark taking the place of his dad.
Becoming the
soul
hero.
Protector. Yeah. Being the big guy and dealing with it and trying to juggle high school and then college. And they already teased that. And that's part of the comics as well. My prediction is Amber's no longer going to be a thing. At the end of the season, they break up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Their relationship was not built to last.
Yeah, Amber's such a... I liked Amber up to the point where she's like, I knew you were invincible all along. Like, okay, don't be a bitch about it.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's literally saving lives here. He's literally...
Yeah.
Like, I understand she has grief, or she has beef.
Not
grief, but a little bit grief. But, like, she has beef, right? She has beef on Invincible. She has beef on her boyfriend not being there, not telling her. Perfectly fine. But don't be like, like...
It comes down to, it's like, okay.
A little understandable.
Yeah, you got to be...
She's also
this is
17.
Yeah. I mean, this is a childhood or teenage romance, talking about some serious, like, life-changing, world-altering news. If he tells her who she is or who he is. But potentially get out everywhere.
The argument is, though, that she's just a teenage girl.
Yeah.
She's a teenager. She doesn't know better. Like,
yeah.
She thinks that, like, the relationship is up there, and maybe it could have been. Other predictions: Eve quits being a superhero. That's her own thing.
Yeah, I mean I feel like that was teased already. That she doesn't. Seem
Lizard League returns because Lizard League always returns.
Lizard League.
Yeah.
Who's that?
They're just a small villain. I think there's another villain too that shows up. He's the guy who controls like the ground and stuff. Dr. Seismic, maybe.
Okay.
I think that's actually his name. He shows up too. That's part of like the montage at the end. The big one. Are you ready for the big prediction I have? The cliffhanger?
Hit me with it.
Mark faces his dad at the end.
Again?
No, not as like a fight. He gets confronted by his dad.
Okay.
I'm not going to explain how, but that's the cliffhanger. Something's going to happen. He's going to His dad's going to be there, and it's going to be shattering.
Are we going to get more interesting? Like, is Omni-Man going to become more of a in-depth character kind of thing? Like, is he maybe going to start to question some of his own choices and decisions?
Omni-Man is arguably, he's definitely top 5 of biggest characters in Invincible. He's not done. He's far from done. He's coming back.
I'm sure. I mean, there's no Invincible.
He's arguably, he's not number 1 because Mark's number 1, but he's arguably top 3 of like most important characters, most interesting characters too.
Oh yeah.
On top of him, we also get I don't want to get too into it. Cliffhanger. I believe it ends with season 2 deals with him. Season 3 is dealing with the conflict that's at hand that is presented at the end of season 2.
Okay. They have to like work together to try to stop something.
Something along those lines.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And like once that happens, because that storyline in the comic books, because like the next time he deals with his dad, it starts off the big storyline.
Okay.
The big bads of the Invincible universe.
Okay.
Viltrumites come back, man.
Okay.
They've been teasing it. It comes back. Once they're in there, I'm excited for it because that's going to be some Dragon Ball Z shit.
Okay.
It's going to be like Dragon Ball Z, like them fighting. Hopefully it's not like episodes upon episodes of them yelling, powering up. I don't think so. Yeah. There's only 8 episodes a season. But like there's going to be episodes where it's just like the last. Like it's so intense. Okay. The intensity between Mark and his dad, it's going to be that, but like Mark and the other person where they're actually trying to kill each other.
Okay.
I'm excited for it.
I'm excited.
The first big bad that comes from that race of people, his name is Conquest. Great.
Yeah.
But another thing I like about Invincible too, and we'll wrap it up shortly, is that there's such a great rotation of just B-list villains. Mm-hmm. You have your big bads. You have the Viltrumites that are coming eventually. The threats there. You have Omni-Man. You have Angstrom Levy. You have other villains that are big that I won't spoil. Actually, I'll just say one of them is Dinosaur Man.
Okay.
He's fucking ridiculous, but he's so deadly. But it's such a he's deadly in like a smart way. It makes you think.
Okay.
This is probably season 4, 5, 6, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I'm not sure about the pacing of the show. But the cool thing is there's so many small villains. And we already, like, with Battle Beast and Titan and Machine Head.
Really fills out the world. A hero is nothing without a whole slew of villains.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Lizard League is one of them, too. It's so interesting because there's, like, each one of them has its own story.
Okay.
And I'm excited just to see it all play out. And that's what I think what makes Invincible so great. In fact, one of the best, like, elite, like one of the best comics and hopefully one of the best shows is simply just because it's so layered with lore. Like the Batman version, the Batman character. They have a Batman character and they have a whole issue, and I don't know if I put it out. I don't think I did. Where they have like the Batman. I think not Darkwing. I forget what they call that version of Batman, but the whole like the city that he protects is all like black. It's all dark. It's nighttime all the time because somebody put a curse on it.
Okay,
so it's like always dark in the city. I'm like just simple shit like that, like the lore of it, and just the ideas. So I'm excited for Invincible. I wasn't planning on doing this episode until later on when it released.
We'll have to get back to it once it comes out.
Yeah. However, I saw the news. I'm like, I gotta talk Invincible. I gotta talk how excited about this show I am. It's back, baby. It's going to be other news that I didn't mention. It's going to come out quicker.
That's good. It has been a while.
It's going to come out quicker. There's going to be a few gaps, kind of like Rick and Morty, where like they stop. You don't know. Production wise, it takes a lot to animate. So, but they already have season 2's on its way. Season 3's already recorded. They just have to do the animation. So hopefully, end of 2024, start of 2025, which is crazy to think about. Only a few years away is going to be the start of season 3. And I'm hoping this is going to be one of the greatest superhero shows of all time.
It's got a very solid start.
Yeah. And it only gets better.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see where it goes.
All right. Any other thoughts on Invincible?
I don't think so.
I don't think I have either. The Martians are coming back. I'm excited for that. Or the little aliens.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I just had that thought. All right. This is Don't Involve Me. This is the Invincible episode. We have Brandon. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I am Jake, and we are out.